Hello friends, welcome back to another Value Vintage Cards video. So one of my most recent videos was a top 25 kind of golden age, post World War II, best, best whatever that means, cards in my collection. So I don't usually rank them by value. Some of those are, you get a recent sale and also they move on the list, and I don't do averages and, trends matter, and I don't know. So I don't really worry about it so much in like ranking them, but when you compile them as a top 25, it's probably fair to everything except for card 26 and 27, because they might move on to the list and someone else moves off. But that idea got me thinking. That's kind of the classic. It's what, for me, got me into vintage interest. It's everything you looked up in a bucket. It's the Topps, it's the Bowman. And I was just thinking, really my collection's evolved. So I was curious how much of that list would look, similar, comparable in terms of players and things and even years if you took it as not Topps and Bowman. So that's what I thought I would do today, is kind of look at my top 25 from that same era. So kind of a post-World War II up through, I think I have one card in the 70s. And just looking at the top 25 that are not Topps and Bowman in my collection. So this to me has kind of opened the door to just, new potential opportunities and interests. So you'll always love the classics. There's no denying those are, epic part of my collection. I think this is kind of enhanced and changed my outlook on things. So some of these will be things I've shown from other times, other reveals, and some maybe just, I've not shown for whatever reason through any of the videos just yet. And it's definitely arranged in a different way, because I don't think I've ever done a video quite like this format. So if you're seeing it for a second or third time, I don't want to be that guy that keeps showing the same thing over and over, but some of these are, can't leave off this list. So let's get it started. I'm going to start off with my PSA gradeds. And similar, I guess I've only got two different brands of slabs for this. And then I've got one that's ungraded so far that I probably will grade just because of population count and what I perceive to be the value. So we will see. But get it kicked off, I'll go with the most recent one, which will be my only entry from the 1970s, the 1972 Puerto Rican. This was the one I scored in trade. So Puerto Rican sticker, 73 Topps would be your Mike Schmidt rookie. So 72 sticker is kind of the pre-rookie, and I would say if you can get anything with Mike Schmidt where he does not have the classic mustache, it just looks so interesting just because it's so out of place, but back is nice and clean too. So that would be card number one. Card two, I know Sammy just scored one of these as well. He had his graded, and that was a phenomenal find. So Topps Supers, I went with a graded one just for the known quantity of having an even lower population. That was a question that Theo just posed. Do you go for scarcity by set or scarcity by grade? What's your way of analyzing? This one probably falls a little bit into both, because the Topps Super from 69 are pretty tough. 70 and 71 can be found a little easier, but 69 Topps Super are tough. And then this one in a 9 is a little more tough to land. So picked up a Seaver in a 9. So some cool ones in that set for sure. Now we're getting back into kind of prime era. So that covers the 70s and 60s from PSA. Getting into 54. Got a Mantle Red Heart. And again, the other video I talked a lot about just the grading and why that qualifies. I think if I took that away and said this is a ungraded Mantle, I don't think anyone would be too offended that I picked that up. And actually the back isn't crazy either. So, thank you, PSA. I'm glad you slapped a 1 on that and kept that in my realm of affordability. So, 54 Red Heart Mantle is a beautiful card. This set I didn't include in the other video. It's kind of a fringe. I kept it as Topps and Bowman, so by default I get to toss my Leafs in here. At least a couple of them. So Ted is one of the nicer images in his entire card catalog, if you will. So Ted the Kid Williams. Pretty gosh darn cool. The backs of these are generally pretty neat. This one is actually, it's an older label, and PSA calls it 48, even though we know better, and it's a 49 Leaf. I did read an article, somebody said maybe it's a December of 48 or something, you know, like a postseason, still calendar year 48 issue. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not trained enough to discuss that, but the Ted's an epic image, cool colors. 2.5 qualifies it to be in my realm here. So sticking with Ted, this one's, again, I don't know how to value these, so I'm not calling these like the most expensive. I'm just, they're in my top box, and maybe a couple that I grabbed from outside of that, or they don't fit in a box. So I'm kind of just going with where I think they could or should fall, or at least where they fall, like on the list of, you know, epic cool things. So the Propaganda Montiel Ted, it's authentic, it's altered, it's obviously got a little nibble out of the top of it there. These are crazy. They are so thin. I talk about that all the time with this set, but when I hold it up with that goofy light, you can actually, like, I can see the writing while looking at the front of the card. It's that thin. I mean, this is like newspaper thin. It will almost just crumble in your hands. But, you know, such a tough set. Great Ted. So I will keep that in my list of top 25s. The next two are actually from the same set. It's funny how slightly different they look. And they're both like classic 1 grades. This one I've shown before. This is always probably going to be a top, whatever, 25 card in my collection of any defining quality. So, Tip Top Red, Larry Berra, the outfielder. I absolutely love that. So, for being a 1, I think that's, you know, again, that's my perfect 1. Got a little stain on the back. Front of it, I mean, there's not much wrong with it. So, thanks for the 1. I'll take that. Love that every day. So, Yogi pre-rookie, I guess we'll call it. Warren Spahn. Staying same set. Back is a little more, you know, seasoned. I don't know what word to even use. I won't call that loved, because that's not handling. That's like glued into something. But the Warren Spahn Tip Top Red is also considered kind of his, you know, at least one of his first cards. So amazing image, that youthful Spahn. You know, if you're debating between Leaf and Bowman for, you know, classic images and whatever else, I'm going to throw Tip Top Red in there every day as a qualifier for best early Warren Spahn card, no doubt. So that's all I have from PSA. Two-hand the SGC pile, unfortunately. It's a bigger stack. So trying to keep moving here. 1968. So looks like every other 68 Topps. Again, I do collect Tom Seaver to a degree, so chance to pick up a Venezuelan Tom in a 5. These are, I mean, if you said what's the average grade, it's probably somewhere between an A and a 1. So 1.5s, 2s are hard to find. 5s, I think there might be a 6 out there, but like that's, you're not talking 9s and 10s like you are Topps and some of the other issues. So I mean, that's really clean back. 68 Venezuelan, you know, and again, populations for a lot of these Venezuelan cards, they're, you know, might be 100. and most of them are A's and 1s. So to find a 5, that accelerates value and scarcity and rarity of those cards quickly. So that's actually a pretty big hitter for being just the classic 68 Seaver, which is a great card anyway. This one I just showed recently too, so we'll just bring Hank back. The other video I showed a 54 Topps Hank, so we'll keep with the 54s. You know, you talk about the evolution of collecting. I mean, 54 Topps is where you start, and then if you decide you want to get into some of these offshoots and different things, Johnston Cookies 54, so a different Hank rookie. I don't know that I'll meet a collector that would say, yeah, I picked up the 54 Johnston Cookies Hank Aaron, and then I found out there was something called Topps. You know, like you don't evolve that way. You know, so it's the cool thing of these, and the back's part of the reason I got an authentic altered, but the back of these is like a real card. So it's not some kind of goofy little blank back cutout that was, you know, included. It looks like a real card, and it, you know, has the feel of all that. So it's fun. 52, my other video I had some really cool Jackies. This one I have less Jackies, but this one made the list for me. So Burke Ross Jackie, cool image of him, you know, jumping to make a catch or something there. So got that in a 2.5. These are, you know, if you're not as familiar with the Burke Ross, they're basically, it's like you're just forgiven for having these perforations because that's how the card came. So centering can be an issue on these, but I don't worry about the grades. I mean, for me a 2.5 is fantastic. It's not all creased up. There's nothing wrong with it. You know, cutting is not right, but it's a perforated card anyway. I mean, come on. Just happy to have Jackie. So absolutely love that. Back of it, getting pretty legit. Goes through some bio information, and some of these have little mini stat type things or a little story or something saying, you know, made the all-star team or other position, things like that. Another one that I feel like I've shown most of these actually, so maybe I'm out of good cards. I don't know. But these are fun. It's fun to sort them in a different way, and I think that's a lot of what doing these videos does, is you come up with new ways of just looking at your collection. So this one is probably, again, always in my top 25 no matter how I sort my cards. So 54 Wilson Franks Ted. I think what my other video had for Jackies and Mantles, this one might have for Ted. So I think this might be the third Ted Williams I've shown so far, maybe, at least. But that Wilson Franks, again, these are pretty tough. And it's another one that if it was high graded, I wouldn't have it. So I love that I can find that value vintage grade. It's a great one. This one's interesting because it's obviously post-playing days, and several of these are really from this recording. So 47 Tip Top Bread. Some of the cards in that set I feel like I just never see. I've only seen a couple of those ever really come up. So I know there's at least one person on YouTube that has one of these, but actually, now that I think about that, I'm not sure that he's really on YouTube per se as a channel, but he's out there a lot. So I know Mike Petty's got one of these. But they're tough. They're really, really tough. So back is clean. That's for whatever reason, that one seems to be pretty scarce, and because of that, sells for a bit more of a premium than you might expect. Alright, jumping back to Leaf. It's hard to believe I'm getting some Babe Ruth time in here, but that was one that I sent in. That was in my SGC reveal video. Great classic card. Front, you know, a little snowy, but you know, I always said if you looked at that, when I put that on the wall on a display case, something like that, that looks tremendous. And thankfully no one will flip it over because it's on the wall. But the back's actually really clean, except that it was glued into something. So other than the fact that it is well deserving of a 1, that is everything you want. I mean, little snowed, but good lord, you're not picking on a Leaf Babe Ruth card. We'll stick Babe. Another tough one. These Propaganda Montiels are typically in the realm of brutal. So again, lots of A's, lots of 1s. I want to say I've seen a couple that have gone above 3, but for most cards, a 2 and a 3 is about as high as it gets. So this one is a 1, is pretty solid 1. The front image, even the centering, which you can't pick on these because the population's so low, you don't care what it looks like, but it gets a 1. The back's got some damage to it, but it'll be red too. So design a 1 so you can afford it. There it is. That's how I design it. That's exactly the 1 I would want. So, next one gets an A. I would say, took the fight to the opponent and lost. So maybe a dog got a hold of it. Maybe it was in the blender for a quick minute. But anything higher grade than that probably wouldn't even make it to me. And I've seen some A's that are brutal going for some coin on this card, because this is considered, I don't know if it's his first card or not. There's a couple others in that realm, but this is 46, 47, Propaganda Montiel again, Stan Musial, so it's absolutely pre-Bowman Leaf. It's at least a pre-rookie, and yeah, that one edge, I almost wish it was perforated and they just tore it wrong. It's not, so somebody just was rough on it. I'm not sure why, but main image is still good. Back is actually, it's almost like they were brutal in all the best ways, because you can still read the whole back, but the main image is what you want on that card, and it's intact and it's good, and I'm happy. So that's a super tough card. And stay Stan will stay super tough cards. I've shown this one a bunch, and I will continue to show it a bunch, because it's another one that will be a top 25 in my collection card forever. So 1954, right? 53. I'm off. Oh, I was just looking at 54. Hunter Wieners, but super tough issue, tough set. Front has some damage to it, cutting, whatever. I can't talk about that at all. I mean, these are blank backs, hand cut type stuff. Actually, on these, this is actually a nicer example, because the red border a lot of times is cut off. So a lot of them you'll see it just looks like a picture. So having the red border to it is actually a bonus, but super tough set. So I mean, commons from that are hard to find. It's just an impossible set. So thrilled to have it. All right, let's stay Stan. Go back to pre-rookie eras. We'll go Bond Bread. So this one definitely was taped into a scrapbook, and I think if you're dealing with that fight, I think they did the best thing possible. They took it out and just said, leave tape in place. Don't risk ripping the whole darn card. So that's such a tough one. It's the rounded edges. It's not the squared off, exhibit style. This should be, and these are tough to find. Authenticity can be questionable, but quality grader, it's already been through SGC. That's one that I would probably feel more comfortable with having professional grading too, because those, you're taking a big gamble if you're buying into a fake or a reprint or something. And I have one other from the Bond Bread set that would make my list, and that is a Yogi pre-rookie of sorts. So same thing, you're looking at like a 47 year. That's such a classic Barra image. That's used a lot between the team packs and different things from that era. So blank backs, a little bit of a dirty back on this one, but that's helpful because the front image seems pretty phenomenal. So solid 2.5 on the Yogi. Last regular size slab, and then I'll get into a few oversized, and we'll call it top 25. 47 as well. So picked up a Sports Exchange of Yogi. I've had that for many months, not years, but months. So solid 4. They're hand cut. So again, when you're dealing with hand cuts, look at it. Is it enjoyable? And what makes that a 7 versus a 4? I don't really know. I'm not sure what is wrong with that to be only a 4. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't know if it's not centered. I don't see any creases. I don't really see anything like, major blemish-wise on the card. It's a blank back. I mean, I'm good. I'll take the Yogi all day. Another pre-rookie Yogi. All right. So I've got 6 more to go. I will go with my only on ungraded and then go back to the graded stuff. This one is a 1956 Cons card. So Con Wieners. Frank Robinson. 57 Topps is his rookie. This is a 56. I'll dive a little bit deeper on this on a different video, but this one's rough. It's got holes in it and whatever else, but these just don't move. 1 a year sale would be an increase. So again, how do you value that? And it's ungraded. It's going to be an A. That's, undebatable. So if I have it slabbed, it's really just for the purpose of preservation and getting it into a nice case. So that's, sometimes I look at that, would I spend $15 on just having a really nice case for that card? Probably. So maybe I'll just slab it up. Next one I showed recently. It's one of my postcard backs. This is a range, but 54 to 56 Spick and Span Hank Aaron. So it's somewhere between a rookie and a third year. But really cool image, decent grade, big old postcard. Happy to have that. So that would qualify in my top 25. I'll go PSA and then I'll wrap out with my last SGC here. These, I wasn't sure, again, value, like where you put them, but I'm going to include them just because the set themselves deserve to be included. They're right in the wheelhouse era. So 62 Pittsburgh exhibits, done as a just monster card. Like you're going to sit around and play cards with something this huge. I mean, it's like postcard size. It's a big old thing. But that's a really tough set. I think this is, more scarce than like the Home Run Derby cards that are so exorbitant right now in price. So it's a nice clean example, and when I can get an Ernie, I'm always happy. I like collecting cards like that because you can find players that aren't typically big money. 62 Topps Ernie, you list the big dollar guys, and it's it's Mantle, it's Mays, it's Koufax, it's Clemente, and you have to go down the list a while before you get to and Banks and Berra, and but it's fun to get these tough issues because part of it is the set, the scarcity, the card, and then, oh, by the way, it's a really good player. So it's kind of a way of, building your collection of that player by finding really tough sets. And I just kind of threw out casually the Home Run Derby things are exploding. A couple of those went in auctions for way more than I thought was fair, and then this one slid through for, I think, a good amount less than I thought was fair. I was really excited with what this came through for. So you can always look it up and see what I paid. It's public knowledge, right? So it was it was an online auction, but I think I got that one for a very fair price. Did not bid up at the end, which I was fearing. So it's a 2. It's a 59 Home Run Derby. There's dozens and dozens of these. There's not hundreds of these. And they're all blank backs, but they're just a tough set. So the Home Run Derby set is very cool. Again, cool image of Ernie. So we'll take that. All right, 2 more. This one I've shown as well. This one I actually traded with a dealer online. So get creative. When funds or when access becomes an issue, get creative and find the solution. That's how I got that 53 Hunter Wieners of Musial. It's how I got this thing. I was not looking to drop the dollars required to get that, so I reached out to the seller and, actually found their website. It was a pretty good sized seller. So I went to their website, I sent an email, and I said, hey, would you be willing to do partial trade, partial cash for that instead of just all cash? And they said, we're open. What do you got? Sent them some pictures. They decided which ones they thought were a good fit for what they do. But 53 Stallmeyer Campanella is a pretty big card. So I picked it up for, unloading some duplicates and a little bit of cash, but not a lot of cash. So that worked out really, really nicely. Love that image. That's my favorite Campanella image, I think. So it's everywhere. There's 5 or 6 different places you'll see that. So last one was a Facebook deal. So again, it's, kind of being everywhere and finding where things are. Had this one for months. This is, bazookas are cool, bazookas are tough, but when you get into the 59 bazookas, they are maybe the toughest of the tough. So really happy, authentic, minimum size not met. They're hand cut. So, had they been a little more generous on a border, for me, who cares? The image is mostly clean. And again, these are tough enough that you don't get to be picky. You can have this one or not have it. And when I look at those that way, I say, I like that one. I would like to have it. So that's how you make the decision. It's not a pop where you're going to say, like, well, there's 16 more of them available. There's not. Some of these cards there's not 16 of. So that's my run through. That is 25 non Topps and Bowman of post World War II era. So I'll do deep dives on some of these different sets and some of these issues, and I'll do something with food issues. I'll do something with the propaganda Montiel set. I'll do some different things and sort these in different ways. I think I like doing that just so I can kind of grasp what it is and do a little more of a research dive on a particular set. But I enjoy also sorting it this way and just saying, like, what would the top 25 be right now? So kind of a fun way. So hopefully that's enjoyable, and maybe introduced a set or two you haven't seen too often or haven't remembered. Maybe you've seen it and just kind of forgot it was there. But sorry for the video length, but with these 25, I wanted to make sure I did spend a minute and share them with a little bit of detail. So that is it for today. I will see you next time with a much shorter, more normal video, but hopefully that's a good one. So see y'all next time. Thanks.